Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Hate to Interrupt podcast, the number one 1984 themed podcast in the world. It is I, George Orwell from Brazil.
And I'm Culture Nick. I'm Nick from Stop Culture.
I'm VHS guy
Gulif.
Nick. Oh.
And I'm Gula.
Wait, Gul, if you have to say, tell everyone your first name.
My first name is Ethan.
Yeah.
I'm Ethan. See, it sounds wrong if I go yours is great, Nick. If you go, I'm Nick from Stop Culture, because Stop Culture sounds like a brand name, whereas Gulif just sounds like a fantasy creature. So I'm like, I'm Jeff from Gryffindor or whatever, you know.
Well, Gulif
mine's
is
kind of the same.
Gulif is
VHS
your middle name, though, right?
Yeah, that's me.
So
Ethan.
That's actually how I have you saved in my phone. I have Gulif as a middle name.
Ethan Gulif Rogers.
Yeah.
Oh, you just doxed him.
Doxed his ass.
I just doxed your ass
Fine,
right
it's
there.
not that hard to find.
Tim's gonna swat your ass with that info.
Damn.
God damn.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm gonna sniper wolf your ass.
So for this episode, we want to get into a debate that we were having in our podcast group chat about one specific YouTuber and his journey over the past. Yeah, YouTuber / filmmaker. His journey over the past 12 months, Joel Haver, to make one film every month of the year in 2024, which he succeeded at. And Nick, it was mostly Nick and Ethan that were arguing about this, but I just wanted to set the stage.
Yeah, I feel like we're making it sound like this is a group discussion, but let's be real.
It's me and Nick
a
arguing.
fight between Ethan and VHS Nicks. I'm just here to enjoy the show and just see some fisticuffs. So,
let me just lay the groundwork. So Joel Haver, filmmaker, YouTuber, in 2024. He put himself out for the challenge to make 12 feature-length films by the end of the year, and he did that. He made those. And then this fucking guy over here is like,
so hold on.
They're not real films.
He made 12 very long YouTube videos for sure. I agree.
Ooh.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
That's cold.
So,
dude.
no, Nick, what would you define as what is a movie?
Okay,
what is a film?
I will not. So they are movies technically.
Okay, there we go.
But they just don't feel like movies. That's all I was saying. They genuinely don't have a movie feel. They're not very cinematic. He doesn't hire cinematographers for like the large majority of them.
What does a movie feel though? Yeah, like you can't just say it doesn't feel like a movie and then
there's
just
a very
end up there.
cinematic look that films have, and that even like a lot of YouTubers can like uphold. Like if you've seen like channels like Almost Friday TV, like all their sketches are like of way higher quality than Joel Haver's. Like,
I'd say
as
some
far
of
as
their
aesthetics.
sketches.
The sketch that Almost Friday did about making fun of the intros to Netflix stand-up comedians.
That was insane.
That was fucking
so good.
Yeah.
It looked amazing, and it was so funny.
But like
So
my
I'll
point
definitely
is,
give them
Joel,
that.
and I love Joel Haver. I think he's a great YouTuber. I think I've watched his videos for years, but I think he should have put more time and effort and made less movies. That's really my main point.
So you're going quality over quantity.
100%.
Well, I don't even understand how quantity makes them less movies. Like Adam Sandler shits out like some fucking disaster every like year, but those count as movies. So what about those are so different to say like Joel Haver films? Like because I mean I didn't get a chance to watch all of them, but I'm familiar enough with Joel Haver to know that there's a personality behind these films at the end of the day. Like there's someone who's really passionate.
But
you can see that through a lot of the production value and a lot of the, the writing and performing and stuff. Like they're just as much movies as anything else. Like I'm really the type of person to be as liberal as I can with the term art. And, these are just as much art as any other Hollywood production. So, like, who the fuck cares if it took him a month to make each movie for 12 months? Like, it is what it is.
There's something you just said that kind of is sort of my point. And that's that he's a very big personality and he has a lot of himself in these films, right? Yep. Which I agree with. I think there's a lot of him in these movies, and I think that they're very much his style of humor, which is kind of like dry, weird humor. But if somebody didn't know who he was, nobody would like these movies.
I agree with that.
I don't even think that's true.
I
Because
didn't.
there
I
are
didn't.
plenty
But
of
I
just
didn't watch all of them. I watched a little bit of some of them. Some of it.
I think
and
he wouldn't
I
have
agree
as
with
much
Nick
of
on there.
he wouldn't have as much of a reach, obviously, because that's how.
I think
as
if
many
these
people
were
see
showing
his
at a film
stuff.
festival, they would be not near placing in any way, shape, or form.
And also, no, think about it this way, guys. Like, if any one of us decided to do that with channels being our size, like sub 10K, it would be the same reaction that Nick is talking about right now. It would do nothing. Nobody's gonna watch those movies unless they're coming from a big YouTuber they already know and like.
I mean, sure, but you guys are trying to measure success as like the amount of people, which I don't think. Honestly, Joel was making movies before he was popular and was just doing it because he wanted to do it. It just the fame came afterwards. So like, I don't know. I don't really know what the argument is at this time.
My argument is that I think it's kind of pointless to put these time constraints on art. Like, and
yeah,
I have personal experience with that. I was telling you guys, I joined a songwriting club. There was like 30 songwriters in New York City, and the whole point of it was to make an entire new song by each Thursday of the week. You had to submit it by 12. There was a deadline, and if you didn't do it, you would get kicked out of the group. I did it for 52 days, so I did it for 52 weeks, an entire year, and I had 52 songs by the end of it. And I only ever released one of those songs because I was just trying to get it done without really focusing on it and taking my time with it. Only one of them was really something I could salvage and release to the public, So I just
wish he has so many resources available, so many like favors he can call in, so much he can do, and this is the best he can do. I said so. I'd watched 3 of the movies. I watched The Diarrhea Brothers Save the Day. I watched Love Celeste, and I watched Coming Home. And I went back and watched another one, which was Your Point Girl. And
I haven't seen any of those ones yet.
So I wasn't impressed by a single one of them. I've given him a shot. Like, I don't understand what I'm sure he should feel proud of himself.
It doesn't matter if you don't think they're good. Like, that doesn't matter. That's not the question.
Yeah.
The question isn't like, did you like them? The question is,
are
they
good,
movies?
Then why?
Are they film? Then yeah, like, but they're just as
why
much
make
films as anything else. Like, yeah,
they're not all perfect?
like what's you're saying like, oh, why make 12 movies in 12 months when you can make 3? But like, that's not the point. He did it because he wanted to and he could. Yeah. So
but listen, the
point was that he wanted to do a gimmick. It's a gimmick. I can make 12 movies in a year.
Came out. He said, "I want to challenge myself by trying to see if I can do 12 in a single year," because he
wants to make ad revenue on 12 videos instead of fucking one video.
That's some bullshit.
No.
He took fucking a hit this year. He took he got so much less money. He's like, I've just been living off Patreon money for the last year, basically just paying the people to be in his films as friends to take time off work. He used to make one short film every week, or a short skit, whatever you want to call them. And he was making so much money. And then he's like, well, I am in a comfortable position where I want to just make as much like as many movies as I possibly can and challenge myself. I'm going to be making less money. So you can't say he's doing it to try to profit, because he's making.
I don't think it's purely about profit.
He also just straight up said, like, he made a video before he took on this challenge where he was like, look, I'm not going to make as much money as I did because I'm making 12 videos in 12 months instead of like how many videos he makes per week or something like that. So like, he's not doing it out of like, is it a gimmick? Sure, you could say that, but it's still something he wanted to do. Like, it's still an artistic challenge he's putting himself to go through, and he ended up doing it. Whether or not those movies are good at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. What matters is he put himself in a creative endeavor and he followed through, and that's more than most people can say. Most people can say, hey, I want to start a band, or hey, I want to write a novel, or hey, I want to do this and that, but they just don't end up doing it. He did it, and you got to give him respect for that. And these are just as much movies as anything else that comes out of Hollywood. Like, art when it comes to art and just cinema or whatever these days, that is as open-ended as whatever you want. And in my perspective, from my worldview, movies are just as much film, and these films are just as much part of the craft of filmmaking, and our art as literally anything else that comes out in theaters that we pay money to go see.
No, Tim, we have an arbiter on this, and it's Martin Scorsese. So if Martin Scorsese says it's a real movie, it's a real movie. It's cinema.
I'm sure he. I think Marty would be on my side. I honestly think.
Yeah, okay, he's like, no Marvel movie.
Listen here,
they don't suck.
Even if he's making a movie a month, why is he not hiring a cinematographer, like good sound department, like people who are actually can like he could bring more people in to like show off their work. It's not even just about like his own work. Like he could bring in other people who could like show their craft if he's making 12 movies. There's not that much film work right now.
He likes doing the cinematography on his own. He has said that he likes doing that. And he likes the way he can shoot it. And I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with his sound mixing. I think it's fine. Like it's perfectly serviceable.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
I mean, you could
wise.
Give him, could give him like $1 million, and I'm sure he could make a technically perfect movie. But I don't think he really cares about that. He's like, I just want to make a movie, and then when I'm done with that, I want to go make another movie. Like, maybe
I just respect that less than y'all do, or something. I mean, that's
fucking. Here's the thing, there is such a gatekeeping and level like high barrier of entry that is just like it's not real. It's all this like perception we've created around what a movie is, where people in Hollywood are like, wow, look how cheap this movie is, and it's $1 million fucking dollars, and it's like you'll never see $1 million in your life, but that's considered super low budget, where the general public, general person, anybody that's wanting to create a movie in their entire life will look at that and go like, well, I can't make a movie because Hollywood says so, or all of this stuff says so. Whereas if you look at any other art form like painting or writing,
I don't think that's
you can
true,
just go.
I mean, I think there is a
piece of paper and write a story. You can go pick up a paintbrush and make a painting. A 5-year-old can draw a picture with a crayon, and that's considered, oh, look at this little piece of artwork my kid made. But for films, no, that's not okay, because they want us to have a level of gatekeeping on it. I just think it's
nobody can stop you from making a movie. And my whole point is he is a person that has so many resources at his hand, like at his fingertips. So he could break that seal. Like, you know what I mean? And if he actually made something good, that would stand out and make a difference. But these movies aren't going to make a difference for fucking anything because they're not
a difference for a
good.
lot of people.
I mean, they might be inspiring for young up-and-coming filmmaker. Yeah, it's inspiring for young up-and-coming filmmakers who are like, look, maybe I can't make a movie because I need this amount of money, or I need to work with this specific amount of crew members who can do this and that. Like, it's ambitious in the sense that he's doing a lot of small-scale independent filmmaking on his own. He's making a feature every month, and it proves that, you don't need this massive budget or not even a small budget. You don't even need $2 million, $3 million or whatever. You can just make something. You can write a script. You can make it with your friends, and you can shoot and edit everything on your own.
Blue Ruin was made with like $400,000. Like,
yeah, that's a shit ton of money.
No, but
yeah, fucking.
Yeah,
Ethan, you were talking about how every other art form has less of a barrier to entry, or you said Hollywood imposes that, but that's not necessarily true, because compared to like songwriting, especially nowadays, is something that you can do entirely by yourself with a MacBook and instruments. But filmmaking is now, and always has been, a highly collaborative art form that does cost. The barrier to entry is financial, because if you want to make a movie that looks good and cinematic and have good actors in it and have good shot composition and all that stuff, you need money and you need people around you to help you do it, to help make your vision come to life. I mean, you can do it by yourself, I guess, exactly. But like it has been like all of your favorite films, your top 10 list, they were highly collaborative and they took a lot of money to make. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, I'm sure. But the thing is that's why I think we're in such a cool change in the perception of like the industry as a whole. Is like everyone like you're like, well, you need a camera, you need equipment, you need extra people. You could make a movie by yourself. It might be not is exactly what you're imagining in your head, but you could take your phone and you could go film a shot. You could play 2 characters or just be yourself. And
people have done that too. Fucking Tangerine had a fucking micro budget and it was filmed on iPhones and it looked 10,000 times better than anything Joel Haver
I haven't
made.
Yeah,
seen
but that's
Tangerine.
just as much a film as all these movies that Joel Haver has made. Like, I don't
Sure,
see
but
what
it's
the
not. But they're
difference
not
is. Yeah,
good.
like,
You just don't. You
so
seem hung up
like,
on
again,
the fact that it doesn't
that's
look
not the
cinematic
point. Like,
enough.
it doesn't.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
look
doesn't matter
cinematic. The
if it,
scripts feel very lazy. The stories are fucking lazy. Like
I disagree with this
what
laziness.
I just don't have
They
that many
never feel
positive
lazy
things
to
to
me.
say about them, and I really wanted to like his stuff because I liked his YouTube channel. I liked his shorts. I liked all the stuff he made.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not on the tip of saying that they're not real movies. I don't think that that's like a helpful way to label things, real or not. I don't even know if Nick is doing that necessarily.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying they don't feel like okay. Maybe I'm wording it wrong. Because what I was saying was they don't feel like real movies to me. That isn't that they're not technically movies. Of course they're technically movies, but they don't feel of very high value to me. Like I don't hold them to very high regard.
Like, yeah, when if someone says I made 12 movies in 12 months, that makes me feel like you obviously didn't put a lot of work into each one of them because you just couldn't have. You really just there's not enough time for you to write an entire script, hire your entire crew in 30 days. Like from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, you have to have cut a lot of corners to get that done. And to me, that makes me not really want to check it out. You know, I think that's fair. No.
I mean, some of them, sure, but like, I mean, for example, like the first one he did was he's like, I wanted to go out just on a softball easy one, so he filmed, I think, over a week. He just filmed a found footage movie about a character who's like a homeless guy living in his hometown. So that one's easy to film. But then I haven't seen it fully yet. But Hello, My Beautiful Creatures. He fully took 2.5, 3 months to film a stop motion movie in that 12 months. That was the majority of the time. It's janky looking, but I don't know, a fucking 2.5 hour stop motion features doesn't really scream low effort to me.
Well, I haven't seen them all, so maybe there might be some gems in there that I haven't seen, and I'll bite my tongue. But I mean, I'll watch some more of them. But I feel like
I mean,
I've
that's
watched
the
4
thing.
of them.
That's
I've
not what
given
I'm
it a
getting at.
shot.
I'm not saying that you have to like them. I just think to disregard them as like actual art is a little reductive.
yeah, I'm just getting
think-
annoyed about the whole like, oh, these movies are bad, or like that. Again, our point is these are movies by definition, just as much as like if we can count.
I
I'm not
agree
even.
with that,
I'm not
yeah.
arguing that.
Yeah.
Nobody's arguing that.
Okay, then I guess I just don't know what we're arguing about then, because I thought that was the whole point. I thought that was
My-
what you were arguing against.
I never said they weren't movies. I said they don't feel like movies, and I think that was maybe a bad way to word what I was saying. But like,
you all know what he's talking about, though. You know what he
Sure,
means.
I think he thinks
when he
it's-
says it
it
looks
doesn't
like a
look
YouTube video
expensive.
over a movie. Yeah, like you can tell. It feels that way. You know when you throw
but
it on.
that's because we've had 100 years of incredibly expensive movies of just like that's the only way. Because back in the 70s, not anybody could make a movie, and film was incredibly expensive. You only have a very
Clerks was
small
shot
handful.
on Clerks
we
was shot
also-
on film
I'm
for like
saying-
$40,000.
When was Clerks? 2000?
Yeah,
It was like
Okay,
1999
I'm not
or
saying,
something.
but I'm saying that like the further back you go, the harder it was to make something. And now we're at a period where everyone has a video camera in their pocket.
and there's like a million.
Yeah.
And he's in fucking LA. There's like a million cinematographers who would love to fucking work on his film.
Yeah.
I think it's just a you problem. I don't mind the way they look. I think they look fine.
Yeah, I just like, you know, if you don't like the way they look, that's fine. I'm just, but that. I guess I'm just getting hung up on the whole they don't feel like movies, which I know you said is not the correct way to say it, but I don't know. Like,
I just don't know how to word what I'm trying to say because they don't look cinematic. They don't sound very good. Like it doesn't feel like a high quality movie.
All right. Well, let me pose this question: would you rather, Nick particularly, would you rather have watched a Joel Haver movie that he said, "I'm going to spend 12 months to make one movie"? You know, doesn't that sound more appealing to you? Personally, that's what I would want to see from any filmmaker.
I would love that.
Because, like I said before, film is one of the most difficult mediums to really get to put your vision to life, because it takes so much time, it takes money, it takes so much people working together. There's music that you have to get. Like it's basically every art form that you can imagine put into one thing.
Like,
you know,
another example off the top of my head, like did y'all grow up watching? I don't know, it might be too old for y'all, but like Derek Comedy. Any of y'all?
Derek who?
Derek Comedy with fucking what's his fucking name? Childish Gambino. What's his fucking real name?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
Donald
his
Glover?
sketch. That was his sketch comedy group on YouTube, and they were really fucking popular on YouTube. And they actually got funding for their movie off of like YouTube. Basically, they got like $1 million funding, filmed their movie called Mystery Team, and it was really funny. It was like a really fucking funny movie. Like Joel Haver was a big enough name that he could have gotten funding to make a movie if he wanted to. He doesn't have those same constraints you're talking about that all these filmmakers have. Joel doesn't have those. He could just be like, hey, look at how fucking popular my YouTube is. Fucking give me $500,000 to make a movie, and somebody would fucking do it.
And from everything I've seen from him, though, he seems like he's aggressively independent. Like he wants everything that he does to be outside of the Hollywood system, which is totally commendable. I think that's fine.
I
you
think
can
that's
find
more
independently
than fair.
wealthy people outside of Hollywood that will give you money to make a movie. There's a ton of people that did it. They did it for fucking Evil Dead. They did it for so many fucking movies.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he wants to prove that he can do it without. But I mean, I guess my point here is that he's not Sean Baker. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe he
Sure,
should take
he's
a little
Joel
bit of
Haver.
money.
I don't know. It seems like a lot of your problems, Nick, VHS Nick, is like it doesn't look expensive enough. Like it doesn't look like the cinematography is good enough. The sound isn't good enough. The whatever other thing. I think those are the main two things.
It just doesn't seem like he cared about these movies, like on an individual
I think he
level.
fucking does care because he spent like I don't know every time I've watched one
I think
of his
he cared
films,
about
I've
hitting
never
his
thought
12-month
he
thing.
didn't care. Oh, of course that was. But you're talking specifically about that. If you go out of the 12, I'd say probably the one you have the best chance of really liking is "Pretend That You Love Me," which he made
I
over
did
the
watch
course
that
of a
one.
year and a half. You did?
Yeah, it was
You
okay.
didn't like that one?
It was okay.
That
Damn.
one's fucking phenomenal.
So
I
maybe
don't
the
know.
issue is that you just don't like Joel Haver, Nick.
Yeah.
I do like his sketch comedy. I think I haven't watched anything like long form that he's done that I've liked all that much.
Do you think
didn't
that?
like
No,
Pretend
but
That You Love Me
honestly,
very
Nick,
much?
do you think that is Joel Haver a beta cuck?
I don't think so. He seems like a nice guy.
Okay. Well.
What the fuck are we talking about?
No, wait. So before if we were about
Yeah.
to switch subjects, there is one thing because Ethan sent a review that Joel Haver made of the Bob Dylan movie, and there was one thing in there that he said that I thought would be interesting for us to have a conversation about. He referred to basically the fact that Timothée Chalamet was playing Bob Dylan as millionaires cosplaying as millionaires, which is kind of I don't know. That was kind of a crazy
Wait, sorry,
take
who
to
said
me.
this?
It's absurd.
Joel Haver.
This is Joel
said
Haver.
that.
He has a letterbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He seems like he's a hater of things, of all things Hollywood, for
He's
sure.
very anti-Hollywood, yes.
but like, all right.
Yeah.
So the way that Hollywood works is that they build up stars, and then those stars become a selling point for the movie. You can put Leonardo DiCaprio in a movie when he's like in his early 20s. That Titanic becomes a hit. Then everyone wants to see the next movie that Leonardo DiCaprio's in. And that creates this highly exclusive club of highly profitable selling points that people can, put in their movies and everyone's going to go see. And then people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise, they become these cultural touchstones for everyone to, care about and want to go see them in films. But what that does is it creates this, members only club that pushes out
to a circle.
Yeah, it pushes out all the other highly talented actors that could be working in big movies. But since Hollywood wants to make these profit centers out of actors, it makes the system is so closed and highly exclusive. So like basically my question is, do you think it's bad that there are only, I don't know, like probably 30 to 40 A-list actors? Or would you rather see films that have, people like directors never reuse the actors and they just cast entirely new people? We don't have stars anymore. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword for me because I like to see actors. I like to see actors surprise me. So I like to see actors in multiple different types of roles, right? That's always nice for me. But then you have like the other side of it where like there's an actor like The Rock that they just miscast and everything, right? So like I think there's good moments and bad moments for it for me where like I'm like, oh shit, I get to see Zac Efron fucking doing insert thing here that surprised me, right? Or I get to be like, okay, here's The Rock 15th time when this could have been fucking anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it's interesting because like in that specific review you're bringing up, he points out the irony of a complete unknown casting one of the most famous actors in the last 10 years.
Right.
And I think there is something to say about being able to disappear into roles and like not knowing. Like, I think the Dune movies would have been a million times better if I did not know any of the actors going in, if they were all entirely unknown.
I agree.
But knowing that this is capitalism, that's never going to happen because they had to sell this movie off the cast.
It's unfortunate because, like, in an ideal world, however famous you are, it wouldn't fucking matter. All you would need is the best and most talented actor for that specific role to do that specific thing, to play that specific character. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world. We live in a world where big Hollywood A-listers sell movies above all else. So we have to cast the most obvious casting ever.
I still think there's some of that in like the indie scene.
But even then, I'm not even 100% against that, just as long as there's a point to it, just like it doesn't detract from the movie. Like, saying The Rock is miscast and everything is just the easiest fucking thing in the world. I think like I'm thinking of more like in terms of something like, say, like Bohemian Rhapsody, for example. Before that movie ended up being whatever the fuck it was, this big corporate lie, this fan fiction, this PG-13 fan fiction created to win Oscars. It was originally like a genuine passion project because Sacha Baron Cohen wanted to play the part, and he mentioned before that he wanted to make a raw, authentic portrayal of Freddie Mercury's life that like would just not hide anything, just like be upfront. This is who Freddie Mercury was, and a number of directors were attached. I think David Fincher was like attached at once. Like something like that would, where you have a big A-list actor like Sacha Baron Cohen, where you have a notable director, but it still would have ended up really well. It still would have been something great. But instead, we don't get things like that. We get just bullshit like what Bohemian Rhapsody ends up being. And, that's an easy target. But unfortunately, there are plenty of films like that.
I don't think that has to do with the casting, though. Like, I think if had that movie had different filmmaker, like Rami Malek would have done a good job. I think Rami Malek was good in that film.
Was fine.
I don't think so. I don't think he did that great. But
I agree with Nick about when you said it's a double-edged sword, because I also do, like, I love to be able to see my favorite actor Joaquin Phoenix do dozens of different roles and transform himself and everything. Like that's a really cool thing to see. But at the same time, I really don't like how there are probably thousands of actors out there that are maybe not just as good as Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's a singular talent, but just as good as fucking dozens of A-listers out there, but they never get a chance because of how exclusive the casting system in Hollywood is.
Oh man.
Like my thing is, I feel like if that wasn't the case, if like the movie star as a concept was, became obsolete in some way, then filmmakers would be the ones that people are going out to see. Like, I mean, I feel like Stanley Kubrick was a good model for this because he never really cared about movie stars. Like, he had Jack Nicholson in the movie, but like fucking more
but
often than
him
not,
because he fit well in the movie, like not because he wanted Jack Nicholson per se. Like, he didn't cast Tom Cruise or Nicole Kidman because they were big movie stars.
Kubrick in The Shining.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Kubrick didn't cast Tom Cruise or fucking Nicole Kidman because they were big movie stars. He cast them because they fit well for the type of story he was going for. Yeah, like, so, think of even say something like Lord of the Rings. Like, at the time when they were making the film, not a lot of actors in that film were big stars. Like, Elijah Wood wasn't that big. Viggo Mortensen wasn't that big. Sean Astin was the guy from Goonies, and that's about it. It's frustrating because a lot of movies just, if they just weren't tied down by these big name stars, then things would just be at the very least a little more immersive. Like, you can't tell me when you watch something like, say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example. I guess something like, like how Oppenheimer like was filled with just all these A-list actors that are just randomly in the movie because fuck you, because I could, or like how Harry Styles is just randomly in Dunkirk because fuck you, he could be because he's a big pop singer that everyone really loves, things like that. It's just what purpose does it serve for Harry Styles to be in Dunkirk? Nothing. It could have been played by fucking anyone. It could have been played by The Rock for all I cared, and it would barely have made a difference.
Also, Harry Styles fucking sucks, dude,
He's
at
so
acting.
bad.
He's a really
such
bad
a
actor.
bad
Wait,
actor.
no, he's going to be in the Eternal sequel, guys. This is going to be really good.
Are they doing an Eternal sequel?
No, he was
I
just in the
doubt it.
post-credit scene of Eternals.
Yeah, he'll never
Yeah.
show up in the MCU again.
I don't think I stuck around for the
Thanos'
post credits of that
brother.
movie.
Yeah, dude, isn't that
that's
crazy?
also
He's
why I really
Thanos'
love-
brother.
But that's why I also really love character actors, because like they're famous enough
Yeah.
that people could recognize them on the street, but they're not like cute. They're not Tom Cruise or something where you don't see the celebrity, you see the character that they're playing, So people like say Bill Skarsgård or Michael Stuhlbarg or people like that, huge character actors
Alfred Molina.
that are known. Yeah, Alfred Molina, or the number of actors who are in Coen Brothers films that aren't George Clooney. These are character actors that really immerse themselves in their roles. They disappear into their character. So when you watch their films, you don't see, John Goodman or Steve Buscemi or John Turturro or something like that. You see the
William
characters
H.
that they
Macy.
play in. Yeah, William H. Macy. You don't see the actors. You see the characters they play in Big Lebowski, Fargo, True Grit, whatever, So,
Who's your guys'
What would
favorite
you guys-
character actor? What were you going to ask?
I was just
Steven?
about to ask, what would you guys define as a character actor? Because I vaguely know, but I've never had anyone explain it to me exactly.
I mean, a character actor is basically someone who's generally not in like a leading role. You see them playing they're highly transformative actors that are versatile and can fit into like many different supporting roles. Like Tim gave a lot of good examples of character actors. John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, Alfred Molina is another good one. Ann Dowd is a really good character actor.
Gary Oldman's
Would
like
you
the most
say,
famous one.
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
yeah, Gary Oldman, I'd
Hi,
probably say. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman, I guess.
is a character actor.
Yeah, he also got a lot of leading roles though.
Yeah.
I don't think
guess,
that
yeah.
it doesn't. If you get leading roles, I don't
That doesn't
necessarily
take away
think.
your
Yeah,
character acting is.
Yeah, like there's a
Okay.
difference between like John Turturro and George Clooney. Like when George Clooney leads a Coen Brothers film, you primarily see George Clooney. He just happens to fit the role. But when you see John Turturro, you don't just see John Turturro. You see the actor John Turturro playing a character.
yeah.
I think my favorite would be like
The dichotomy is like movie star versus character actor. Usually, those are the two
Okay.
main kinds of actors that you'll see in Hollywood.
So
I think
yeah,
my favorite is
say,
probably like Walton Goggins.
Oh, it's a good
Fucking
choice.
love
That's
him.
a
I
great
love
choice.
him.
yeah, that's a good one. The guy who played Fuchs in Barry, what the fuck was his name?
Oh, I know
Stephen
exactly who you're
Root.
talking about. Yeah,
Stephen Root.
Stephen Root.
Yeah, Stephen Root. I think he's another good one. Jennifer
Bill-
Jason
I mean,
Leigh, I would say,
Paul
is a
Bill
really
Hader.
good
Giamatti is a
character
fun
actor.
one. I really
Bill
like
Hader
Paul
is good.
Giamatti.
Yeah, Giamatti.
Yeah.
I said Molina and Stolberg is another great one. I would say those two are two of my favorites. But yeah, it's always a nice treat to see character actors that you love in movies. Like I just watched that The Instigators, the new Matt Damon, Casey Affleck movie, which was pretty fun. Have you
I
guys
haven't
heard
even
about
heard
it?
anything of that. No.
It's just
No.
like an Apple TV movie, but it
Oh.
was pretty fun. And Michael Stahlberg was randomly in it. I was like, oh hell yeah!
I was actually gonna bring
Yeah.
him up. That's the dude from fucking Shape of Water, right?
A Serious Man. You ever see that? He's the lead in that.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the lead in that one. I speaking of Shape of Water, what's his name? Michael Shannon.
ugly
That was
guy.
it. Yeah, Michael Shannon. He's another good character actor, and
John
yeah,
Malkovich.
I mean, yeah, John Malkovich. I was gonna say in
John
Shape of
Malkovich is
Water,
not a
there are
good
plenty
actor
of-
though.
What?
What?
I mean, he's okay.
John,
He
being
definitely
John
phones it-
Malkovich alone makes him a great
Yeah,
actor.
being John Malkovich
like the
is a
fact
peak.
that
He
he can
phones
play
it in a
not just
lot.
him.
He phones it in a lot.
Well,
Alright.
Adam Sandler phones it in a lot, and I still consider Adam Sandler a great actor.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Conversation argument done. Okay, I
yeah.
agree.
Fuck you. I said Adam Sandler, and then I
I'm just
shut
saying.
you down.
I watched
Yeah.
Rounders again recently, and the fucking his accent is one of the most atrocious things I've ever heard in my life.
Oh yeah, he has his weaknesses, but many actors do.
Yeah, I was going to mention what's her name? Octavia Spencer, I think, is a really great character actor as well.
She's great.
Yeah,
Shape of Water as well.
Yeah, yeah. Shape
Um,
of
Keep
Water.
bringing up the fish fucking movie.
I know it's
yeah,
like
the
awesome.
I really like
Stanley.
that movie. That's
Yeah.
another. I've been working on this video for the romance shit, and I think I didn't even think about Shape of Water.
Fish fucking.
You gotta add.
Are you gonna add Nosferatu?
No.
Okay. That actually. So we mentioned Rami Malek earlier in the Bohemian Rhapsody. I just wanted to bring this up because I was curious. Have you guys heard about this movie Better Man?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
I'm actually kind of excited to see it.
Which
it's basically, it sounds like it's like
it's a Robbie Williams biopic musical.
Okay,
and it's
the monkey one. Okay,
the monkey one. I read that it was the reason he's an ape. The reason he's an ape was because he thought that people would be able to sympathize better with an ape than with a human, which I think is just really funny. And that's it. He's just an ape through the movie.
I think the movie
That
looks
is
horrible, but I'm
technically
so
true.
excited to see it.
The reviews are not. It's got a 3.7 on Letterboxd.
Reviews are pretty good.
That's not
apparently
terrible.
it's such a tremendous flop at the box office. Like it didn't even break $1 million at the U.S. office, and it's because no one knows who the fuck this is. No one knows who Robbie Williams is. I'm sorry for anyone who likes Robbie Williams, but no one knows who the fuck this man is.
I think that's the real reason they don't want to admit that they're doing a monkey. They're like, nobody knows who the fuck this is. Maybe they'll go see a movie about a singing monkey.
Yeah, maybe they'll think this is a Planet of the Apes spinoff. Maybe this will be a Planet. Maybe this is a Planet of the Apes spinoff. They'll trick them into thinking it's that.
Apes together strong.
But I this is just another trend though of just music, generic, stale, corporate, by the numbers, fuck all music biopic movies that have
Pharrell
no
Williams
original
one,
ideas.
But this one's Lego.
Yeah, like it's like, is this all they could come up with? It's a music biopic, but it's Legos. It's a music biopic, but monkey. It's a music biopic, but it's also a musical in this thing that you're watching that you expect to have music in it. It's a.
But you did say you wanted something different, bro. Pick your lane. You either want monkey or you want walk the line.
You want Bob Dylan?
What I mean by different though is that I just want something way more ambitious and way more experimental. Like it doesn't fucking matter if you put a monkey in there. You could put a piece of shit in there, a literal piece of shit as the main character. I don't fucking care. You're still just following the exact same template, that an exact same structure as every single one of these music biopics do. Yeah.
So you're saying they all follow the same structure, blah blah blah. But like, if it's telling a true story, how do you want it to be different? Give me an example of like what you want different from these biopics.
I mentioned this in the Lost. Am I allowed to mention the Lost discarded episode that we tried to upload, but then we're going to
talk about that in a minute.
Okay, yeah, like what did I say? What was the Todd Haynes film? I'm not there. I think it was called. Yeah, I'm not there.
The other Bob Dylan movie.
The other Bob Dylan movie, and arguably the better. But I haven't even seen this new Bob Dylan movie, and I already think the Todd Haynes one is better because it doesn't just follow. Yeah, it doesn't follow the exact same shit. It actually tries to be way more ambitious in terms of what it's going for. You know, like making a simple biopic about Bob Dylan isn't enough to A, understand the guy, or B, understand his philosophy or his approach to music or anything. You know, getting 6 different actors, 2 of whom look nothing like him. Actually, 3 of them, because Richard Gere's a fucking old fuck who looks nothing like Bob Dylan. You know, like I think that is a very ambitious choice to have. Yeah, Kate Blanchett and then some other guy. Like these are all very ambitious choices to portray this version of Bob Dylan that I think is interesting. Another example would be something like Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, which isn't technically a biopic, but it might as well be because it's just ripping apart like every single cliche and generic shit that you.
But no, they're not going to make a Bob Dylan movie that's just spoofing Bob Dylan. Like,
well, no, I mean, also
that would be way more interesting.
Think of Oppenheimer. I mean, Oppenheimer was incredibly artful.
I hated that movie.
I thought Oppenheimer. I don't know how. I mean, that was probably my favorite movie of 2023. I love that movie. That was a biopic that definitely was not, paint by numbers. It was very artful. It was.
I don't think the biopic aspect of it is what killed it for me, though. So that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Oppenheimer is definitely Christopher Nolan's best movie by far.
Yeah, like here's another example.
By far.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's his best,
How is
but
it
it's
better than
definitely
The
one of his
Prestige,
better
bro?
films.
The Prestige is like actually a genuinely like 10 out of 10 movie.
I think Oppenheimer is near perfect. It's a really, really great movie. And I definitely my favorite.
Are you just like a silly like a Cillian Murphy stan or what?
I just think it's like it's undoubtedly his best movie.
I would kiss Cillian Murphy's feet. I don't want to hear any of this shit talking on Cillian Murphy, okay?
Because
Where
mean,
is he? Okay,
after-
that's another thing I don't get. What's with the Cillian Murphy fucking everybody just stroking this guy off? What has he done that's good besides
Oppenheimer.
Peaky Blinders?
Oppenheimer.
28 Days Later, Oppenheimer.
How is he in any way impressive
people
in
like-
28 Days Later?
Cool.
That movie was cool.
I don't know how best to answer this question because it's.
Is it just because he's cute?
Yeah, VHS Nick wants a lot of like mathematic answers to why you think something's good and why something's cinematic enough. You know,
whatever. Anyway, what I was saying, here's another example. Amadeus, I think Amadeus isn't technically a biopic; it's based on a play, but it might as well be, and that's a far more interesting film than like 90% of the shit that comes out about musicians who have the rock star life, I guess. You know, like you can totally make something ambitious and interesting that isn't just the same shit and isn't just throw in a gimmick, monkey, Legos.
I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. I think they are very formulaic and lame. So I mean, I was just curious as to like what you'd like to see.
All right, wait. I have a question about Better Man. So it actually is just Robbie Williams' life story, but they just made him a monkey.
He's just a monkey.
They just made a monkey, basically. Yeah,
that's literally
it.
There's no. I don't think there's an explanation for it. I haven't seen it. But
Wait.
He's just a monkey.
How could it be his life story if he's a monkey and no one else is a talking monkey?
What I want to know,
right?
Wait.
That's the thing, right? No, he's the only talking monkey in the world, and he's a British music star who no one in any other country. By the way,
I hope there's like a birth scene where he's just coming out. His mom's a human. She just fucking cooches out a monkey.
Gave birth to a beautiful ape. Aww.
But the thing is, like,
to be a singer.
if it's a biopic, that means they have to go through his actual career, you know, loosely. But how do you do that when every second somebody's going to be like, "Holy shit, that's a talking monkey singing in there"?
I don't.
Maybe they just don't acknowledge it. They just have to not acknowledge it.
I don't know.
Monkey can really sing.
Think about how expensive this was too. Think about how much more expensive it was to have Monkey versus just an actor.
Yeah.
Zach Monkey.
I mean, honestly, making him an ape gave it a better chance of it doing better because nobody knows who Robbie Williams is.
Yeah.
Besides, like, I don't know, Australia or something.
Is not human. Get it? Because it's like the Elvis thing. He's white. What an epic scene!
Oh, do you get it? I just got it. Better man because he's an ape. And ape are like
what
men.
a slapper! I'm dying of laughter right
The
now.
fun-
You guys kill me already.
The funniest thing about this entire Better Man thing is that all of the Brits are so incredulous and mad that people don't know who the fuck Robbie Williams is. They think that people are lying. They genuinely think that Americans are lying by saying that they've never heard of Robbie Williams. I
thought
never
we
heard
were
of this
talking
fucking
about
guy.
Robin Williams this whole time.
Yeah, same.
Literally, that's
what people
I
said.
thought this was
like,
Robin
I know Robin
Williams'
Williams.
son. Yeah.
Well, anyway, should we
sorry,
get
to be fair, I didn't even know who Amy Winehouse was, and they made a movie about her. So
I fucks hard.
Whatever.
With
it does.
One more thing on music biopics. Have you guys heard about the Piano Man biopic that's in the works right now?
Oh, that'd be cool. I like Billy Joel.
So this is no. This is crazy. So it's Michael J. White's studio got his greenlit a Billy Joel biopic called Piano Man. However, they do not own the rights to any of his music or his likeness or his name.
What the fuck?
So we're gonna see what they do.
That
sounds fun.
They can't
Michael
say
J.
Billy
White
Joel.
doesn't like breathe like great filmmaking to me anyway.
I don't know he's not making it. It's just
Black
his
Dynamite
studio.
is so good though.
Black Dynamite's great, but for all the dumbest reasons.
Anyway, I just thought that was funny. That's a thing.
Speaking of biopics we didn't know was happening. I didn't know a Bruce Springsteen biopic was happening until yesterday because I was listening to
I didn't know that.
I was listening to some Springsteen music the other day while doing something, and I got a notification. I looked it up, and apparently there's a movie happening with Scott Cooper directing, who's kind of a mixed bag. I can't say I've seen a movie from him that I love, but he's the guy who did Black Mass and Into the Furnace and the Pale Blue Heart or something like Antlers. I think that was the other one he did. I know he did like one famous movie
I've
that
seen a
people
couple
really
of
like.
those.
I don't think he
Yeah,
did
but
Antlers, did he?
no, he did Antlers.
No.
Oh, he did Hostels. That was another one that I couldn't even finish because it was so boring.
That movie fucking
But
sucked ass, bro. Is that the one with Christian Bale?
Christian Bale and Rosamund Pike and
I
Wes
fell
Studi.
asleep like 15 times trying to watch that movie.
Yeah, but they got Jeremy Allen White to play Springsteen, which
I was literally,
cool.
dude, that's crazy. I was literally just thinking, I haven't heard of this. I was like, they should get Jeremy Allen White. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
They
hit
have
Black
so many
Mass.
biopics in talks right now. It's crazy. There's always like
We'll see.
10 of these a year.
Yeah, I mean, I like I like Jeremy Allen White as an actor. The Iron Claw was one of the most emotionally manipulative and boring things ever. But aside, he wasn't bad in the movie. So
I don't
I'm
think
sure
it
he'll
was
do a great
emotionally
job.
manipulative.
What is emotionally manipulative?
He said this like 10 times the other day, and it stressed me out.
That's genuinely what happened to this family. That's
what I'm
story.
saying. They tuned it down too. There were like 3 other people who fucking died in this family that they didn't even put in the movie.
It's just like the saddest story ever.
It happened. Yeah, great. It happened in the past. That doesn't change the fact that the way they presented it was the most emotionally manipulative and Crimea River type shit ever. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah,
So
I'm
if
sure
your
the thing that happened in real life was sad.
if your brothers died, you wouldn't be sad. We should film that as like a comedy.
Sure, yeah, cool, yeah. Just quote me that. That's the thing that gets me canceled. If my brother gets killed, I won't give a fuck.
Every time a brother dies, it's like
No, I don't. I genuinely don't understand how that movie is emotionally manipulating. I tried to ask you that last time you said it.
Especially since they made.
But the movie is so forgettable that I literally forgot most of the movie, so I couldn't even give you an answer, even if I wanted to.
And also the fact that they specifically made a concerted effort to tone down the sadness, the tragedy that this one family endured, it makes me feel like they were trying to make it less emotionally manipulative, if anything. No,
I genuinely loved that movie. So like it's like surprising that you think it's boring. Like and you liked Past Lives. Past Lives was fucking boring.
I don't know how you could find. Yeah, well, now we're just getting into semantics on what we find boring.
Yeah, we gotta get back. Yeah, we gotta get back on topic.
Well, look, this is.
Let's talk about Brazil.
Wait, yeah. Before
you go ahead, Nick.
Before we get into it, we have to let's make a eulogy for our episode that was totally corrupted immediately after we talked about it.
This wasn't me.
Yeah,
it wasn't my fault.
I mean, it was my fault, I guess. My audio and video were messed up, and when it was processing it, the file came in. It's totally unusable. It would have been very funny to listen to, though, because my voice ended up pitched down. Like it seemed like
he was talking like this the whole time.
It was pretty intense. But yeah. So we're gonna try to talk about Brazil again. We already did this. Gulif didn't, though. So
yeah. So it'll be like a whole new episode.
Yeah. Who wants to introduce what they think
Brazil?
this movie is?
I've never seen this movie before ever in my entire life until now. Crazy.
Cool. Give us
I'm not the best at summarization.
Yeah, give us the rundown on how you feel about Brazil. How do you
I was hoping
introduce
I
it?
wouldn't have to do the summary. Brazil, not about the country. I thought it was, but it really wasn't. It is a sci-fi satirical dystopian film by Terry Gilliam where I don't remember the main character's name. Where a guy who's basically
Jonathan Pryce.
It was Sam, I believe.
Jonathan Pryce. He's like your pencil pusher. Business. What is he? Like a. He's just a business. He's a suit.
He's like a
basically.
low
He's
level government worker, basically. Yeah.
And he basically gets thrust into this kind of plot where he just essentially learns of how fucked this whole society is, and and just kind of what antics ensue after that. This is basically.
It's also about like his uninvestment in it, and his like kind of like his escapism through his what's the fucking word? Imagination and shit.
Yeah. Imagination. No, but yeah, I love this movie so much. It's probably, I think it's my favorite movie that we watched for the podcast. Mostly because it's kind of weird because I think I've said this all before, but just pretend you two guys pretend like I didn't say this. Okay, just listen.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah. So I absolutely love the way this movie tackles fascist satire, because so often in movies it's like fascism is only depicted as this like giant monolithic structure it's only deserving of like audiences' fear. There's very rarely times where it's deserving of ridicule, but this movie depicts like a fascist bureaucracy as the way that they genuinely are, because they always fucking eat themselves. because they're more concerned with the idea of the state rather than how the state actually operates. And that's exemplified in the way that everything this bureaucracy creates is constantly breaking. And the movie goes to painstaking effort to depict that, like from household appliances to the infrastructure that's constantly blowing up and fucking killing its citizens.
Yeah.
Nothing
that they label as like terrorism, even though it's not.
Yeah, nothing that this government does works, and that I think that's a brilliant way to satirize fascism, because it's not really done that often in movies, and I really appreciated that about this one.
I love how much that they just have bogged themselves down in just fucking paperwork.
Yeah,
like that's just half the jokes. Are just like, sorry, I don't have the right form, so we got to go back and go get a different form. You got to get that signed by your boss, go to a different level.
It's a scathing indictment on basically every single form, the worst form of government ever. Just it's a scathing indictment on bureaucracy, on totalitarianism, on authoritarianism, just every single one of them, because it just showcases that, like you said, it's kind of the worst of every single world, where if you want to say fix your air conditioning, like what Jonathan Pryce's character goes through, you can't just call some random electrical engineer. No, fuck that. You need to go through dozens upon dozens of paperwork and make sure that you're coordinating with the right department. And I love how they, in that instance where Robert De Niro's character, they make him out like he's this like secret ninja assassin or some shit, but he's just like, nah, I'm just like a freelance electrical engineer. I just like fixing air conditioning. And it's so funny that he goes to such lengths to do essentially the bare minimum of what everyone needs when they get their air conditioning or their plumbing fixed. It manages to toe the line between this is really over the top hilarious, but also just, wow, this is a scathing indictment on, and we can see a lot of our own modern worldviews and governments, through this film, through this specific lens.
Like, even like seeing our like modern shit. Like, I think even outside of like the government talk and stuff, like the touching on like consumerism and like people's like insane focus on their appearance too. I think that was really well satirized as
like
well.
The Mother with her face getting completely
everybody's just getting fucking weird surgeries, and all they care about is what they look like.
One of my favorite parts in the movie is like right at the beginning, when there's this little clerical error that causes someone to get killed eventually. Like they break into his house and take him in, and they don't know that he has like some kind of condition, and he ends up dying. But like each department of the government is just like tossing around this mistake like a hot potato. No one wants to take blame for it. And that's so good. That's such great satire, because it's like, just like with people, with individuals, if you can't admit that you've made a mistake, you'll never learn from them, which is partially why this government doesn't work. I think that's so brilliant that they did that.
They would rather just kick the can down the road instead of just actually addressing the issue. And even when they do, it's like you said, it's never their fault. Because like, I love how the reason why the fuck up with the abduction that happens in the opening isn't because the characters make it out like it's some secret espionage shit. Like, oh, maybe they sent in a spy and they ruined everything, or maybe this is like an inside job or something. But it happened because a fly got swatted and fell inside the machine that caused the mistake. But like you said, and regardless of how this mistake happens, like you said, no one takes responsibility. I really love that little back and forth banter that Ian Holmes' character and Jonathan Pryce's character has, where it's like, oh God, I don't want to deal with this. Maybe we can just put the paycheck like in a crack or something. We could accidentally slip it under the doorstep or something, and even Jonathan Pryce's character, when he goes to the wife's house, and he goes, well, we don't normally do this. Normally, you have to go through this extreme government process to get this check. But because I'm such a nice guy, I'm going out of my way to give you this check, to give this refund. But it's such a disconnect from reality. It's such a emotional disconnect from the bureaucratic office worker who just works in his nice, soulless, gray department, and this woman who just lost her husband fucking died, and she can't even see the body, all because a clerical error was made, because of a technological error was made, and it's such that disconnect. It creates a lot of awkward humor, but it also kind of goes to showcase how people who run governments, especially those in more federal positions, they often have a disconnected view from the people that they're governing because they're in very privileged positions where they can make rules and make dictations on what says and what goes when it comes to the rule of law. But even regardless, that doesn't even matter because I love how this film also just showcases that it's not just a state problem when it comes to the issue of totalitarianism, fascism, authoritarianism, whatever. It's also a civilian problem as well because they're complacent to all of this. They're apathetic to all this. They don't give a shit. All they give a shit about is, oh, I wonder if this procedure is going to make me 20, 30 years younger. Am I going to buy a present for Christmas or something? It's consumerism. They're so concerned
I
with
think
consuming and buying things that they're not either they don't give a shit or they're not aware of the greater issues that are plaguing this hypothetical state.
I think it like what I took about it because I've had like a week extra to think about this now. Is like what stuck with me is like he's the main character is like this guy who's like dreams of getting out of this and like really wants to like escape the like institution, right? And I think it's like really interesting that like really it kind of shows you that the only escape from like any of these types of like situations you're in is either like in your mind through like escapism or like
Or
to give
death.
up hope.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like you can let it be. You can have it be crushed out of you as well. Like that was like a lot of those characters like that he'd been friends with and everything. It just seemed like they just been like, yeah, there's no way out of this. I'm here.
And
This is it.
and that's why I mentioned this before, but that's why the ending, even though it seems like a very horrible, sad ending, it's kind of a happy ending for this character because all he ever really
Exactly.
wanted to do was daydream, and now he's in a position where he can daydream for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And he can
It's one of those
escape this
bittersweet endings.
horrible fucking government bureaucracy that has only hurt him and everybody he
Mhm.
knows. And now he doesn't have to deal with it, which is, I don't know. I personally, that's preferable to me. I'd rather be in the fucking chair dreaming about.
Yeah, if you're
Same.
living in that world,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they
whole
touch on it. There's not really a place to escape to. Like he was talking to the
Yeah.
chick whenever they were driving. He's like, "Let's just get out of here." She's like, "There is no fucking out of here."
it's just the next.
Yeah.
Just go over to the next area.
Yeah.
Let's
it's
go
the same
far away,
thing.
but the far away is still here. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
like how, and I love how they exemplify that in the filmmaking as well, because there is a lot of great filmmaking going. I love the contrast between these fantasy sequences, these dream sequences that he has in his head. Like I love how the lighting is utilized in these moments where everything is much more ethereal. It's much brighter in terms of the lighting in these fantasy sequences compared to the more dreary, the more color muted, the more grayish reality that he lives in. And, both have really incredible set pieces, but I love how there's a distinct difference in the set pieces. The fantasy sequences have much more color to them. There's a much brighter, poppier tone within the fantasy sequences compared to like even the way it's shot. There is a lot more breathing room in terms of the fantasy sequences. There's a lot more utilizations of like medium wide shots compared to the more claustrophobic like up and close personal like camera work that's being done in the real sequences. There's a lot of just great filmmaking when you see that contrast between the fantasy and the real sequence that I really appreciated.
Yeah.
The specifically like the scene early on where he's in his shithole apartment that just looks like an absolute nightmare that would make me want to die. I absolutely hated that.
No, yeah.
It was tough.
The focus on the cosmetic surgeries, I think, is really symbolically interesting, especially considering the fact that if you use the cosmetic surgeries as a mirror to what the bureaucracy of in the universe of this film does, they're able to create things that on the outside look fucking incredible. Like every government building that you see is this huge fucking monolithic structure. Yeah, it's really intimidating, but it's also really beautiful. But once you get inside, literally everything is fucking falling apart, which is the same thing that happens to these women, these older women that are getting these cosmetic surgeries, like they're not really going to hold. Nothing lasts.
Oh, artificial.
It's also brittle. I really think that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, I like the what the opening scene. I know you guys did talk about it, but the opening scene of the just a clerical error that causes someone to die and just it absolutely tears apart a family. It reminds me a lot of like how people nowadays talk about like the death penalty, and it's like, well, why does it take so long, and why is it so expensive to get someone killed who's on death row? And it's like, well, because if those precautions weren't put in place, we'd have so many innocent people get killed.
Yeah.
Where, you know, just all, it's like you either have, it's going to be expensive and take a lot of time, and it's going, we potentially will, you know, actually put down someone that has done a horrible thing and is proven guilty, or we just go, fuck it, get him out quick, and then we kill a bunch of people. So it just reminded me of that a lot. They're like, oh, sorry about that, ma'am. I just need you to sign this piece of paper real quick saying it's fine.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Why are you crying?
Yeah. No.
Even the torture scene that Jonathan Pryce's characters go through, he's still subjected to so much paperwork. He's like, he's like subjected to so many different lawyers who are telling him to sign different documents while he's being tortured. It's so hilarious.
It's funny.
Actually, I love
a stickler for paperwork.
There's so many small details about this movie that I love, like the cars that they drive in particular. It's this tiny little box that can only fit one person, which is something. I mean, keeping people apart, keeping people separate, atomized, is a tactic of governments like this because they don't want people to rise up against the bureaucracy or the fascist dictatorship or whatever.
Yep.
So showing him driving in that small tiny car is symbolic of the way the government wants to keep everyone by themselves and feel like they're alone. I thought that was really brilliant. I love that Tim was kind of alluding to this before, that De Niro's character is literally, he's only considered a terrorist because he wants to do actual work on people's heating units and shit without filling out paperwork, and that makes him that makes him a terrorist.
That makes him a terrorist.
Yeah,
and apparently being a freelancer in this world makes you a terrorist.
The government is so concerned, like they're always concerned about terrorism, but meanwhile, the only thing that's actually harming their citizens is their fucking crumbling to the point of exploding infrastructure. Literally everything that blows up in this movie is just a result of shitty fucking engineering done by this government.
Yeah,
I love that.
I like that it also takes the time to show how like a lot of the like other people who are like higher up are kind of trapped in this oppressive system too. Like it's not necessarily what they want to do either.
Yeah.
So like everybody's suffering. It's not just the main character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, go on, Tim.
Yeah, I love those types of films. I love how because it's easy to just make it just like about this one character that's the one that's suffering or whatever, and I love how it's not just that character, it's a widespread issue that's affecting it. Like even his coworker, who they don't even have their own desks. They have to share a desk. They constantly fight over how much desk space they get, and he's like protective of his computer. He's like, "What? No, you can't use my computer."
No, I'll type it.
And the boss's office is fucking massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the people who are in these positions are fucking incompetent. Like Ian Holmes is technically Jonathan Pryce's boss, but Jonathan Pryce basically does everything for him, especially during these moments of crises. Like he's the one who has to solve everything. So it's clearly this government is not run on efficiency or effectiveness. It's just a bizarre, outlandish state where the rule of law is just whatever the fuck they want it to be, and it is a sad reality that unfortunately we can see a lot of our own worldviews onto.
Yeah.
The what I was thinking of just now was like mid to early 80s. This came out in 85, Blade Runner came out in 82, and I was thinking about like comparing the two in my mind as like, okay, you have Blade Runner, which is a very serious drama set in this dystopian sci-fi world that's like absolute hell. And then you have Brazil, which is very similar. But I think, honestly, Brazil is more frightening to me because it feels more real, even though it's such a, it's clearly a comedy. It just I don't know, it feels so much more bleak in like the juxtaposition of having these like very silly scenes, but having the most awful shit happen in the movie, and just to have it like laughed off by a lot of characters kind of is just really disturbing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
This world sounds way worse than fucking Blade Runner.
Yeah, I mean that's why I love it. I love it so much because it really shows how not just that these governments like this are horrible and do commit atrocities against humans and disregard human rights completely, but they're also just horrendously ineffective. They're fucking contradictory, and they only exist to justify themselves. They're, it's a bullshit government that always eats itself. It always does. Yep.
Yeah, reality and law is whatever the fuck they want it to be. It's not grounded in any sort of logic. It's just whatever we want it to be, and we have to make it as complicated as possible so we don't have to actually do any realistic or effective or helpful work for anyone. Because if they actually cared, then because there's that section of the city that Jonathan Pryce's character goes to that's just completely impoverished. It was supposed to be this future utopia, future neighborhood, a future, megalopolis or whatever, but it's now a ruin. It's now just a slum megaflopolis. It's just a slum where the poor just are forced to live in because they don't have anywhere else to go, and the government is not providing them any sort of net to help them get back on their feet. It's just fuck all. It's very much a dog eats dog, everyone fends for themselves type world, and unfortunately the main character, in his effort to try and break free from that system, ultimately fails because he just can't get the best. It's just one person. It very much is similar to something like 1984, which this film obviously takes inspiration from, where when you have an entire system that's just run on an iron grip, and that's just run purely on authoritative totalitarian rule, where even the way you think is controlled by the government. It's like, how do you possibly, especially as an individual, how do you possibly surmount to that? How do you possibly overcome that? And in this film, even though there's more humor to this film, even though there's more of a satirical comedy nature to it, it's still just as bleak as something like 1984, where at the end of the day, this character, just like Winston Smith in 1984, they try and they fail spectacularly, and the end result is the government having more of a grip on their psyche than they ever before did. So
yeah, I mean, just like Nick was saying before, I think the ultimate message of this movie is, unless you are willing to create some kind of revolutionary militia or military force that's going to overthrow the government and revolt, the only escape is turning into yourself and building your imagination and just living an escapist life where you build your own world inside your head, because the world around you is so fucked up.
That's honestly the most relatable part of the movie for me, because I don't even really follow the news. Like, I know y'all keep up with that kind of stuff a lot more than I do. I really don't keep track of the news. I don't really talk about politics.
You're not an article head?
I'm not. And I think that for me is why that's like how I remain to be a happy person and can like get through my life without worrying about everything. It's because I avoid that kind of shit, right? I kind of live in that little dream world too, so I can kind of relate to it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love, even taking aside the political nature of the film, there's still a lot to chew on just a pure filmmaking perspective, and there is so much. Like I mentioned, there's a
I love the
distinct
scenes in the
difference.
clouds. It looks so nice.
Yeah, it's shot really nicely. The color in that film is particularly striking. It's like so overpowering compared to the more muted grayish colors that you see throughout the rest of the film. But I love how like the film makes a clear distinction between those fantasy scenes that Jonathan Pryce's character has in his head and the actual real life shit that's going on that he sucks, that he hates living. Except in the end, where the fantasy and the reality start meshing together. It starts blending into the point where I mean, at a certain point you just figure out, oh, it's all in his head, it's a dream sequence or whatever. But even if you do catch that pretty quickly, it's still an incredibly well presented piece of surrealism where things are happening and you can tell that it's not reality, but it's still so at the beginning, there was still a tangibility where it's like, oh, maybe this could be real, maybe this is happening, maybe Robert De Niro's character did come in and save Jonathan Pryce's character, and now he's rescuing him and launching this crusade against the government. But then as you slowly realize that this is all in his head, when the surrealism becomes much more explicit and much more in your face, you start becoming really depressed. You start like getting really sad because you realize, oh, this isn't reality. This isn't what's actually happening. This is all in its head. This is all just a made up fantasy that's being conjured because of the torture device that's going on. And it sucks because like it's like a break in reality where it's just, oh man, he didn't get it. He didn't get his happy ending. He's fucked. This is it. Like this is all this.
It's a
There is no
bummer.
escape
Yeah.
from it. Yeah, it's like it's like how Satoshi Kon. Like his films are very surreal as well. Like you can't. He likes playing around fantasy and reality to the point where the characters just can't tell the difference between whether something they're experiencing is something that's actually happening or in their head. So it's a very similar vibe.
Well, speaking of Robert De Niro, we had a little bit of argument on the Lost episode, and I want Ethan to weigh in on this.
Okay.
Was Robert De Niro doing an accent in this movie, in your opinion?
Oh,
a British accent.
Oh, I'm trying to. He was British, I think.
No,
listen. I haven't.
We
I
googled this
like a month ago.
We googled it, and the Google AI thing that they just added a couple months ago,
which
is famously unreliable. Let's be real.
Yeah,
it lies
so,
sometimes.
Yeah, so we're not exactly. Yeah, I'm not exactly.
But if you listen to the first thing he says, 100% he's putting on an accent.
He's like, "Hey, my name's Gary Tuttle." He's talking.
He doesn't say that, bro.
He just does Robert De Niro voice. He just
has a very strong voice, but he was doing a fucking accent. It just sucked.
Dude, if that was, I swear to God, if that was a British accent, that was the worst attempt at doing.
Why do you think he's never? Why do you think he never does accents, bro? Come on.
I'm just saying that was fucking terrible, dude. That makes me think like if he was genuinely trying to do an accent in that movie, it makes me think less of Robert De Niro as an artist. I'm gonna be totally real with you because that was.
I'm Gary Tuttle.
Yeah, it was him just doing those fucking like.
We're probably gonna make a short of this. Can somebody fucking clip in Robert De Niro? Because I swear to God, he's doing a British accent.
Here
it is. Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm firmly, my stance is that he was not doing an accent. He sounded like exactly like he did in any other fucking Scorsese movie. Honestly,
it's funny when he showed up, I was like, damn, De Niro back in the 80s, he would have been a good ass Mario, and then actual Mario,
and then the actual Mario showed up, and then Bob Hoskins showed up, and I
did the whole soy face,
Mario. No, but if I could get meta for a second, I actually clipped out. I read this last time, so sorry, you guys. You and Nick have to listen to it again, Tim. But I think this is interesting. It's a bit of an article about the feud between Terry Gilliam and Universal. That actually, it is mainly about the final cut rights for the American distribution of the film, and also Steven Spielberg gets involved a little bit. So I'll read that now. Gilliam's 143-minute cut of the film was released without incident in Europe during the first quarter of 1985, but domestic distribution rights to Brazil belonged to Universal Pictures, which was being run at the time by Sidney Sheenberg. As the company's president and COO, Sheenberg had successfully guided the studio through the new Hollywood revolution by advocating for young Steven Spielberg and taking the counsel of his junior executives by making National Lampoon's Animal House. Sheenberg saw a four-quadrant showman in Spielberg, but Gilliam was harder to quantify. He'd made an effervescent escapist hit in Time Bandits, but alas, Brazil was not Time Bandits. So when Sheenberg called for a massive re-edit, largely due to the director's insistence upon the film's original nihilistic ending, Gilliam tried to head him off by appealing to the exec's golden boy, Steven Spielberg. But if you're at all interested in the behind-the-scenes drama of Brazil, you owe it to yourself to read The Battle of Brazil, which is a definitive text on this subject. But what you won't learn from that is that Gilliam attempted to curry favor with Spielberg, who, with a word, could have changed Sheenberg's mind. In an interview with Perspective, Gilliam revealed that after a screening for the Universal suits that left execs with knotted backs of necks red with anger, he showed Brazil to Spielberg, who actually loved it. 3 years earlier, Spielberg had gifted Universal what was then the top-grossing movie of all time in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. No one had more pull at that studio or in all of Hollywood than Spielberg at the time. According to Gilliam, I showed it to Steven, who was just blown away by it, and I was hoping he was going to put a good word in, but it didn't quite work out that way. Gilliam didn't elaborate in the interview, but it seems disappointing at first to think that Spielberg apparently didn't have the back of a fellow auteur. He could have put himself out front like Scorsese or Tarantino have done on occasion with difficult to market movies in the US, but that's never been his style. Perhaps the darkness of Brazil clashed tremendously with his cheery populist aesthetic, but it ended up working out in the long run because Gilliam's intransigence forced Universal to release a filmmaker-approved 132-minute cut in the US, while his final cut was ultimately distributed by the Criterion Collection. So I just thought that was interesting that he tried to get, he's having issues with the studio, but he tried to appeal to Spielberg, and Spielberg was like, you know what, I love it, but I don't care. I'm not going to help you.
Cool, that's awesome. Bye, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Spielberg,
it's the literal definition of the "oh no" anyway meme.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things you can't expect somebody to put their neck out for somebody like that, especially when it's such a big thing like that. I mean,
I don't know.
Obviously,
Spielberg was huge
shitty,
by the mid '80s.
It wouldn't have cost Spielberg anything.
Yeah, all he had to do was just be like, "No,
what
do
if it flopped? And that's on him,
I mean, he's put out flops before, especially in the '80s. I mean, he's
not at the time.
Not put out flops. I mean, I'm sure he supported some that didn't do great.
Yeah. Gilliam, from what I heard, apparently he just said fuck all and just showed a version of the film with the original ending anyway, and then critics really loved it, and that put the studio in a situation they were like, fuck, I guess we have to release it in the original ending. So in the end, Gilliam played the system, and he got the last laugh. And I think the film was financially successful anyway, right?
No,
let me check.
I just looked it up. It was not.
Oh, was it not?
It was $15 million production budget, and its domestic box office was $9.9 million.
Damn.
And it's
that's
international.
Domestic, though. What's worldwide?
Worldwide was sorry. I missed the other $5,000 that it made everywhere else.
Wait, what? It didn't do well in the UK?
That's what it says. International box office was $5,000.
Holy shit, that's crazy. I would expect that to do great in Britain.
Maybe this website's not right. I don't know.
I mean, Terry Gilliam's American, right?
No, he's British.
He's British American.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, lifetime gross is $9.9 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow, that's
damn.
I'm so surprised because he's like a Monty Python guy. Why wouldn't it get? If it only made $5,000, it must have barely been shown in Europe. How many fucking theaters was it in?
It would have been a very exclusive, limited run, if anything.
You would make $5,000 by having it in a single theater for like a year. That's
the movie grossed 20,000.
That's got to be the great. Can I just say that's got to be the craziest career trajectory ever. You start out as a member of Monty Python, and then you end as a critically acclaimed bizarro filmmaker. That's got to be some crazy ass career trajectory you got there.
Yeah, it would be like one of those, like the guy who unfortunately passed, like the Whitest Kids You Know guy. I think he was attempting.
Trevor Moore.
Yeah, he was attempting to go on that kind of trajectory. I think, and then he
He only really made one movie. He made Miss March, and that was kind of it. They were making another Whitest Kids You Know movie, but I don't think they had another movie planned.
Do you guys think Jordan Peele is kind of similar to Terry Gilliam in a way? Because he started with this
similarities.
Yeah, he started out in he liked Terry Gilliam. He also started out in sketch comedy and then makes very interesting movies now.
Started on Mad TV, right?
How do you guys think Key feels about Peele's success?
I'm sure they're fine.
No problem with it.
Their buddies.
He's raking in money. I'm sure
he gets tons of actors. He's got.
I'm sure he's also pretty rich, just not quite Jordan Peele rich.
But isn't it a dick
I think
move?
it's the opposite. I'm sure Key is the more financially successful of the two because he gets to be in all these big blockbuster movies. Like
he's in the fucking Lion King shit.
Yeah, like acting wise, Jordan Peele wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. Like the last thing he was offered before he decided to quit acting and focus on directing was playing the shit emoji in the Emoji Movie. Like the dude, he wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. Like he was the more.
Weren't they both in Fargo? They both played like the detectives in Fargo. That show was funny.
Oh, I love the first couple seasons of that show. I haven't watched it, but guys,
I think it was in season 2.
Don't you think it's a dick move that Jordan Peele has become this insanely respected prestige director and he hasn't fucking cast Key in any of these roles?
I'm sure if Key asked him, he would.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know because
I guess he technically did that if you count Wendell and Wild. He didn't direct it, but he did write the script for that film.
No, that movie. They did that movie Keanu together.
Yeah, they were both.
That they both acted in.
That doesn't count.
Oh, the cat one, right? Yeah,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was still when they were doing their sketch comedy shit. I wouldn't really call that a Jordan Peele movie.
I think as a good friend, Keegan Michael Key would be like, if there's a role that actually matches for me, hit me up. More so
Yeah.
than I'm sure he's not going to ask him to fucking be shoehorned into a movie he doesn't belong in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
But I
think
will
he would,
say though that I
because
feel
I couldn't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no. I couldn't picture, like, I'm picturing Get Out, Nope, and Us, and I'm like, I don't see, maybe in Get Out I could see, like,
I could see him in
Michael Key, like, as a TSA agent. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's what I was, in every movie he could have played the TSA agent and Get Out.
No, because that was the same age friend. It was like a friend in the same age group. I think the only guy he could have really played.
He doesn't look that old. He doesn't look that old. He all right. So
yeah, he does.
wait. He could have been the TSA agent in Get Out.
Yeah.
He could have done Steven Yeun's character in Nope, and he could in
I don't think so.
And what's the other one?
I don't
Us.
know about that one.
I think
Us. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really remember Us that well.
What's the one with the up or what's Nope? I think in Nope he could have been the fucking guy who comes and like helps them investigate the alien shit. I think he could have played that role.
No, I like the fact that guy was young. Guy. I thought he was great as like a younger. And yeah, he was.
He's like
he seemed like he was in his early 20s.
No. I'm talking about the guy who came down to help them.
The filmmaker?
That sacrificed himself. Yeah, the son. He was old.
The antler.
Yeah, the guy who suicided at the end.
No, why not Steven Yeun? I thought he could have done that.
No, Steven Yeun.
I don't know.
Steven Yeun like fucking killed that role. He was.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying Key could have done it too. That's all.
The
I'm
only one where I can see
Steven
him
Yeun
seamlessly fitting in is Get Out.
Yeah, like Keegan Michael Key is a lot of things, but like he is not a versatile actor. He's kind of like The Rock in that he just plays either himself or a wacky version of himself.
Because like his in Get Out, you have all the serious stuff going on with the white family in the house, and then every time it does cut back to what's his name, Rodney. Every time it cuts back to Rodney, the TSA agent, it is like straight up comedy. So I'm like, I could see Keegan Michael Key being like a side character, or like when Rodney's like pitching, like telling all the cops.
I think
like,
that guy was so good.
They're getting
though.
slaves, or
he
whatever.
was so funny.
Yeah, I could see him fitting into one of those scenes fine.
Yeah, and Key is funny too. That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, you guys are saying that Key hasn't spread his wings or whatever. There's no better opportunity for him to spread his wings and get a transformative role than to get cast in one of these fucking giant ass movies that his supposed best friend and business partner is doing now. Why doesn't he give him a chance?
I think it will happen whenever the right role comes up, is what I'm saying. I don't think that it's like I've listened to a lot of interviews by Key, and he seems like a really down to earth, like very like normal ass guy.
No, you know what it is? You know what it is, guys? Honestly, I think Jordan Peele is a snob. I think he's like he does have a snob. That was my old shit. Like I can't be associated with Key anymore. I am an elevated horror director. I'm an A24 man. I don't even know if his movies are A24 actually, but he's like he's that. But you know what I mean. He's like that kind of thing. I know what you mean. Yeah. And he
has his own now. It's Monkey Paw Productions.
He doesn't want to be associated with Key because he doesn't want to remind viewers that's what he used to do. I think that's what it is, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be the guy. He doesn't want to be remembered as the guy who said.
What?
Sketch that they did.
I didn't hear anything you said.
He's the guy who said bitch. Silent. Yeah, he's the guy who said bitch. Okay. He doesn't want to be remembered as the guy who said bitch or did Barack Obama.
He's the guy that says Ron.
Tim, it sounded like he doesn't want to be remembered as the guy who said.
That's all I heard.
Yeah. The man who said nothing.
The man who.
That's my favorite quote. Is when he says.
But anyway, going back to Terry Gilliam, I was just gonna say that I really respect the guy in the
sense.
Wait,
no. I want to talk shit about Jordan Peele more.
Okay, well,
I'm kidding. I'm done.
Hold on. If we do want to talk shit about Jordan Peele, I think 2 of his movies are fucking horrible, and one of them will be really good.
Which ones are horrible?
Everything that isn't Get Out.
Damn, bro.
No. Listen, I think Nope is honestly grown on me. That is my favorite movie he has done.
Same.
I really like Get Out, and I think Us is
Nope is amazing, dude.
I think Us was fucking horrible. I think Nope had a lot of cool shit, and I'm not gonna.
Why is Nope horrible?
You know,
I don't know. It just didn't really do much.
You know,
for
it was
me. Maybe I need to watch it again.
For me, what was really notable in Nope was the pacing. That movie was masterfully paced. Like it was a slow incline to that amazing fucking climax, and I was gripped the entire time. I thought
I
think
love
the
that
moment
actor. David Kaluuya or whatever the fuck his name
Daniel
is.
Kaluuya.
I think the moment
Daniel Kaluuya.
I think the moment I saw an Evangelion and Akira reference in the movie, all criticism I had for the film just immediately just went out the window.
Did the
and I was
Akira
like,
slide.
"Ooh,
so
anime thing!
sick.
I know that."
Yeah.
I'm sad that they canceled Jordan Peele's Akira. Or was it? They did it. They gave it to him, and then they also gave it to Taika Waititi.
Well, that's a fucking lie. It didn't get canceled because he said no. Because unlike Taika Waititi, Jordan Peele's not a fucking moron who thinks it's a good idea to make a live action version of Akira. So no, I think
it could be adapted. I think they could adapt
he
Akira.
even said he was like, I just didn't. It was just too much, and he's like, and
why don't you think Akira could be adapted?
Ask me. You could ask that same question for any other shitty live-action anime adaptations that's ever existed. Why can't you imagine a good Ghost in the Shell movie happening? Why can't you imagine a Speed Racer happening? Like, bro, like what
Speed
the
Racer
fuck
was fucking sick, bro. The Speed Racer movie was fucking sick.
All right, so you're one of those guys. Okay, I mean, I'm not.
That movie was fucking sick.
Okay,
but I think Akira, like, outside, like, it has some weird fucking like body horror shit, but I think most of it's like grounded pretty well in reality. I think it would honestly be a really cool adaptation.
Yeah.
Adaptation. We have to
talk about the way you say adaptation.
It's adaptation. It's adaptation.
It's not adaptation.
One's better. One's shorter and easier to say, bro.
Adaptation. Adaptation.
I've been corrected
on
this.
Sound
already.
like a real thing. Okay.
No, but you are correct that it actually is a word, but it's just not the word that's generally agreed upon that people say. So it's not technically wrong, but it sounds wrong.
It's so much easier to say.
Anyway.
Anyway, going back to Terry Gilliam for a second, I really respect the guy for just sticking to his roots and just because he's a guy who's had to constantly fight to get his movies made and to have them be the way that they are. Like the story about I haven't seen Man Who Killed Don Quixote, but I'm familiar with the story of him trying to get Man Who Killed Don Quixote made for what, like 10, 20 years or some shit. Right? Yeah. So the guy is very tenacious, he's very persistent, and at the end of the day he's a true artist. At the end, he's not going to sacrifice his vision or his creativity for any dumb fucking Hollywood studio, and I really respect that. So I definitely need to watch more of his films. I've only seen 2, and I've seen like parts of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I liked what I saw, so I'll definitely watch the whole movie at some point. And I wanted to beforehand, I wanted to watch Time Bandits before I watched Brazil because it's part of a trilogy, supposedly, according to Terry Gilliam, but I just didn't have the time. But I'll definitely.
I haven't seen Time Bandits, but I watched Jabberwocky.
If you guys had to use, Jeremy Johns' rating system to rate Brazil, would you give it an awesome-tacular?
What is his?
I was literally about to say, no, what's insane? Chris Stuckman has not rated this movie.
I mean, he usually only does new
movies in general.
No, he rates old movies now. He like throws them in every once in a while.
Oh, well, all right. So the options are awesome-tacular. That's at the top. Then it's worth buying on Blu-ray. Then it's good time, no alcohol required. Then lower than that is good time if you're drunk, and then dog shit.
No, so there's I'm not going to remember this movie by T minus X days. Yeah,
that's between dog shit. Yeah. That's between dog shit and good time if you're drunk. So
okay.
So
go.
I don't want to do this.
With that said, no, Nick, you have to do it.
I feel like we're cheating on Chris Stuckman. I think this isn't fair.
Wait. Why don't you want to do it?
Because it's cringe, bro.
It's not fucking cringe, dude. We're trying to. We're expanding our horizon.
Imagine you're watching SLC Punk, and then it'll be much easier for you to swallow.
Jeremy Johns seems like a cool guy, but he's definitely the McDonald's of movie reviewers.
Whoa, bro!
Have you guys seen the clip where he did blackface?
Oh no.
He dressed up as Blade.
Who has not seen that? Oh, Jeremy, you silly man. You silly man.
Clip here.
Yeah. Nick, just fucking say it's awesome-tacular.
It's awesome-tacular. But y'all go.
I'm
next.
giving this 5 Bunko Towns out of 10.
No, dude, use the rating. Use the Jeremy Johns rating system. Gulif, come on.
It was awesome-tacular.
All right, Tim, you go.
I'm giving this one a worth awesome-tacular T- if you're drunk. Dog shit.
Whoa. That's like a.
Whoa.
That's. I don't even know how to respond to that. But I'm gonna go awesome-tacular too. I mean, I know we usually talk about Chris Stuckman. I just felt like maybe this episode would be cool to talk about Jeremy Johns. That's all.
I think Jeremy Johns is a much more respectable film reviewer than Chris Stuckman.
I think he's a schmuck, but that's just me.
Damn, what do you have against Jeremy Johns, Tim?
Everything. No,
I do wish he'd fucking switch out his fucking leather jacket for something else, some other type of fucking.
I bet that thing reeks
comfort wear.
Yeah. So this movie is very much made for me. This is very much a me movie. It's a Timmy movie. This very much appeals to every sensibility I have, I guess. Every interest I have. It would, if it just had anime tits, it would be even better. It would even be more perfect than it already is.
I think this is a momentous occasion where it's the only movie me and Tim will both give a 10 to in the history of the world.
So
that's right. That'll never happen again.
Yeah. So I feel a little bad turning my Jeremy Johns light, because it's like more orange. So I feel like I was in the wrong headspace to watch this movie. I started it, and as it was getting into it, I was like, "Fuck, this is like really heady. I'm really tired right now." And I looked at the runtime, and it was like 2 hours 40, something like that, or maybe it was less than that.
Somebody made a video about that recently.
But it was like, I was just like, damn, I am not in the right headspace for this. I could like watch it and see and appreciate all of the symbolism and all of the themes. The sets are amazing, everything like that. But I was like, damn it, I'm like really not in the mood to enjoy a movie like this. And I finished it, and I was like, that was really good, like objectively. But I was like, I don't know, I couldn't really get into it. So it's like, it's an 8 out of 10 right now, but that'll 100% go up when I watch it again when I'm in a better headspace. But I just want to say that.
So in other words, it's worth buying on Blu-ray.
It's worth buying on Criterion Collection.
Okay. That's fine.
That's the new thing now. That's no more not even Blu-ray.
We're gonna have to come up with our own rating system. We need to stop relying on these hacks.
It's worth buying
these YouTube
on 4K.
hacks. We need to make our own system.
Yeah,
Do you guys collect Criterion?
No, I don't have.
I want to.
I have a bunch.
I want to. It's just I'm poor and I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player.
Most of them are just Blu-ray, standard Blu-ray.
Because all right, so Nick just made a video about how bad movies are better than good movies, and you know that's just the title. I mean, the argument is a lot different than that. But one thing that I didn't hear you really cover in your video is the fact that, like, basically your argument hinged around a lot of what Ethan just said, that you could tell it was a great movie, but he just wasn't in the headspace to take in something this heady or whatever. You know, he wasn't in the mood for that. And
I'm a big dumb dummy.
No, I mean, well, that's I feel that way too sometimes. But I'm just saying,
it's more about the pressure.
Wait.
Go ahead, sorry.
That is. The thing about that is you didn't really mention the fact that there are good movies that are light and easy to consume. Like, I don't know, When Harry Met Sally, or Walk Hard, slew of comedies.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, movies like that are
Castaway.
good, that are trying to be funny, that are way more fun to watch than these stupid ass movies that are bad on.
Those don't contribute to my argument.
No, but your argument kind of falls apart when you think about the fact that there are movies that you can enjoy that are good, that are light, and
I think I agree with you, but I think a lot of movies that are very like well regarded, like in like the cinephile world, are very like heady movies that like have a lot of meaning and depth to them.
Yo, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about Walk Hard.
That's what I was talking about in the movie, though.
I'm talking about Walk Hard. I'm talking about fucking The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like, movie, you know, Tim hates that movie, but most people love it. I love it. You know, it's like a fun.
Well, I think the reason I didn't mention comedies, and I did think about that, was simply because it's more so the video is about my taste more so than like objectively what everybody else is going to agree with. So maybe instead of bad movies, for somebody else it's comedy movies, right? I think you can insert your own feeling and still understand my like argument against these like good movies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's where I find my solace, is watching good dog shit movies, where somebody else may be like, I'm gonna go watch some fucking Judd Apatow movies.
Yeah, but you must also. I mean, do you just watch bad movies all the time? Like, do you watch bad movies
kinda.
more often than good movies?
Yeah, probably.
Well, I mean, I'll point out one I just happened. Like, I don't know if I entirely agree if shitty movies are better than good movies or whatever the argument was. I watched the video, good video, but like, there is something so special about sitting down and showing my wife The Happening for the first time. That's like lightning in a bottle. My goodness, I've never had so much fun watching a movie.
It's so fucking bad.
Yeah.
It is a masterpiece in doing everything wrong. And it's just got some of the funniest line reads from Mark Wahlberg that I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know if I
But I
ever
agree
will.
with you, Nick. I agree that I did leave out some things, but I just didn't want to get too far into the weeds, like explaining everything like that.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, what
As
do
a
you?
young person, I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted an excuse to.
As a Zoomer.
Yeah, speak for the Zoomers. Speak for all Zoomers right now.
I mean, I'm a Zoomer too, but I'll let Tim do because he's younger.
As the kids say, don't skibbity riz, Jojo Siwa,
Toilet.
Riz Palace, snack lord,
Chill Grinch.
beefcake.
Chill
You
Grinch.
guys want to play Fortnite after this?
Don't you mean stream Charles White Fortnite skibbity TikTok? Don't you mean that?
Is League of Legends for old people now? Is that like an old person game?
League
No,
of
it's
Legends
for
is for
fucking
people that hate
losers
themselves.
Yeah, it's for losers and
So it's
people
still
who
for
want to
young
commit
people, but-
suicide.
So it's still for young people. It's just for young people who like want to die
Pretty
as
much.
well. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then Overwatch is for people who watch a lot of porn.
All right,
So
I
you-
think
Just
we've wrapped
saying,
up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you everybody for watching. Before
well, hold on,
I do a little outro,
I was gonna say we're doing a thing. We're recommending movies each at the
that's
end
what
of
I
each,
was gonna
each
say,
episode.
Tim.
Well, fuck you.
Let
I'm
Gulaf
gonna
outro.
do this. We're doing a thing where at the end of each episode, one of us recommends a movie, whether it be from their watch list or so just something that they want the other people to enjoy, or just because they feel like it. We're going to recommend a movie, we're going to watch it, and then we're going to talk about it next episode as well as other shit. So,
And
and
So
culture.
today it's Culture Nick's turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, wait. So before you do the outro, Ethan, I just want to say, I was gonna say we should do Exorcist 3, but
Are you changing it?
I want to change it to Train Spotting
Okay.
2. Has everyone seen Train
Okay.
Spotting?
I
will
haven't
watch
seen
the first
I'm gonna have to
Trainspotting.
rewatch it.
Yeah, so
I watched it once, and I didn't
So
really
you might
like
as
it
well
that much.
just recommend Train Spotting 1 and 2.
Well, is
'cause-
that okay? Are you guys cool
Yeah,
with
I'm
that's
that?
fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I
yeah.
mean, I have to anyway because I've never seen the first Train Spotting, so I have to do that
Same.
anyway. Yeah.
Okay, as long as
Okay.
everyone's cool with that. I really want to talk
Yeah.
about 2, but we can talk about we can just talk about Train Spotting. It's a great,
Yeah.
great,
All right.
great 2 movies.
Cool.
So
If you guys don't want to
Yeah.
be spoiled for Train Spotting 1 and 2, wait, doesn't he fucking call them T2?
yeah,
Isn't
it's called
Train-
T2 Train
Terminator
Spotting.
Why would he
2
do that?
Train
I don't know.
Spotting. Terminator.
It's-
It's Terminator
Anyway,
2 Train
horrendous
Spotting.
titling.
If you don't want to be spoiled for Train Spotting 1 or Terminator 2, you better watch them before next episode. If you enjoyed this episode on whatever podcast listening platform you use, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please leave us a rating. If you're on YouTube, leave us a like. Let us know if this was an awesome-tacular podcast. And that's
And get
about it,
stuckmanized.
everybody.
Yeah.
Get stuckmanized. Barnyard.
Yay.